Why not?
Because you guys were in the position of packing things up, and it was time to do that. Your mother had died, and you were liquidating her estate.
All right. Hold on. You got it?
Yeah. I'll be right with you.
Oh, no, it's okay.
I'm having a moment of not understanding what's going on.
Oh, okay.
Do you have to go? Do you have to go?
No, I'm just sitting here trying to do this as I sit with you. Okay.
Should I let you do your thing?
Yeah, let me call you back in a couple of minutes, okay? Okay,
I have to walk the dogs, so I'll just talk to you later.
okay. Why don't we talk in half an hour, okay?
Okay.
Okay. Love you, honey.
Sorry.
Maybe, I don't think maybe you won't close there. Let's see what you're saying. Right there, that's I think all the way around. Like that and then one open. Yeah, or we can just let it go a little bit.
Yeah.
Like a 3/4 like this. Because this is never gonna close, is it? Okay, well. So. You can leave it right there.
Okay.
In case people need to use the restroom, they can come to this door.
That sounds perfect. All right. And then look. Does this look about right?
I think so.
You can adjust it a little bit.
Maybe a
And
little more
rabbis
towards the, yeah. Towards the left. I think it's too much to the white. Towards the left, maybe a little bit. I think that's, yeah, up a little more. More. Too much, a little low. More. Right there. I think that should be okay. I mean, take a look. I mean,
I think you're right. I think it's that way.
the rabbit is gonna be there, so we wanna.
And we have sound. The miracle.
This expression that people say in Arab-speaking countries, inshallah, it's God's will, or if it's God's will. So everything that has to do with whether the water comes out of there is.
Oh, okay. I think. Do you think it's good there,
I do, and we can let the
Rabbi? Look at it before it
and
starts.
Tamara will be
Over here.
also,
Oh, okay.
or she'll be
Here. Hello. How are you? Oh,
Yeah, to my knowledge, I emailed Cameron and Mark and I didn't hear back from them, so.
Okay, so they'll be right in the cooler.
Oh,
For you guys.
Thank you.
You're welcome. There's water in the cooler just in case you want to grab one. So,
Yeah.
Lawn is a little slushy this morning.
Yeah, yeah. I love my day. Long as my shoes are. I don't remember your first name.
My name is Mike.
Michael, Valerie.
Valerie?
Yes.
Oh, good to meet you.
We do. I've seen you a lot, but
Well,
never really talked to you before.
I'm here in,
What do you think?
yeah.
I started with the synagogue in 1980.
Oh,
Yeah. It was the Harvard. We went to a Harvard before they merged.
yeah. I was born and raised in Bushman.
Oh, were you?
Got
You're
moved
becoming a smaller number by the day.
out, yeah, but, got moved out of here in 62. When my parents divorced, and my mother remarried, stepmother had a job with friends in Alaska.
Oh, what's the last
And
thing?
so,
Yeah. How long were you up there?
I was there until I graduated high school. So,
Oh, okay. Okay. Did you like it? No.
Kind of like Seattle,
Yeah.
a lot of rain.
It's part of the life of the radio.
I graduated from high school, joined the Navy. Raised two daughters.
Boy, if you're gonna be spoiled.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, my goodness. Yeah, my neighbors are that way. They, had 7 granddaughters and then the boy came. I said, oh my God, is he gonna be spoiled?
Oh, yeah. Yeah, the grandkids are 16 and 14.
Yeah, my grandkids are 26, 25 and 27 and 14. And I have one great granddaughter who's 2, she'll be 3. Wow, I just realized the other day that high holidays are coming early
Yeah.
this year, really early.
September.
Yeah. You on the board?
No.
I know where I've seen you. I've seen you on Zoom.
Yeah.
Quite a bit.
Yeah.
Yeah. Your daughter's living here?
No, I got, my oldest daughter's in Virginia. still, and my youngest daughter lives in Jackson.
Oh, my oldest son is in Maryland, pretty close to your daughter.
I'm hoping it's always, so.
Yeah, I was looking for Molly today too. I saw her at the store a couple of days ago. And I thought she's, I was pretty about them last night, but I didn't.
Yeah, I'm on Zoom last night.
Were you? Yeah. Actually, I was worried about the heat and the.
Yeah,
Snow.
that's why they canceled it.
Oh, they canceled it?
Yeah, they canceled it here.
I didn't.
Put it on Zoom.
Yeah. That's all right.
Good morning, Andrew Guthrie.
How are you? Yeah. You know, it was last night. Everybody thought that, today was yesterday. The light was just a little bit more clear. Hey, barely a clear to be. Almost upper. Yeah.
No, I think we're pretty well ready to go. We are good to go on the sound. We are. Good.
What to do? Didn't know what to do. Is he there? Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
I think there is. Just
It's not like the little thing, so maybe that's why.
hello.
Yeah, there is.
Can you hear it?
Yeah.
There you go. Well, I guess I should be dressed.
Shabbat Shalom, everybody. Those who are here with us in person and those who are here with us via the marvels of cyberspace. We're going to be using the red Siddur Lev Shalem this morning. We should have a copy pasted in the chat online. There's also access to the online version on the Chicago website. And we'll be skipping around a bit, but we'll begin on page 101 with Kashuvu, a song traditionally offered upon entering the synagogue or outside the synagogue in this case in the morning. Mani verokasaka avolitaka eshtaka velekal vachaka veirakaka mando Mishkanaka For the soul and for the body, for the gift of being awake and alive this morning, page 99. Hello, Morning blessings. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Asher natan l'tzadikim al hakim ben yom u'ben laila. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shasani b'tzalmo. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shasani ben Hori. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Shasani Yisrael, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Bahokei Akivrim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Mahalbi Sharumim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Mahatir Asurim, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Zohei Kefufim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Rokah haaretz hamayim. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Hamechim mitzadei gaber. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, Mikol sorti. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Ozer Yisrael Bigura, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Ozer Yisrael B'tifara, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Adonai Yarev Koach, Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam. Amavir Shema Meinai Utnuma Me'apapai. Bottom of 107. These are the deeds that yield immediate fruit and continue to yield fruit in time to come. Honoring parents, performing deeds of kindness and love, attending the house of study morning and evening, providing hospitality, visiting the sick, helping the needy bride, attending the dead, proving the meaning of prayer, making peace between one person and another and between loving partners. With Talmud Torah Keneged Kulam, and the study of Torah is equal to them all. Page 122. Baruch Shamar V'Haya Haolam. Baruch Shamar V'Haya Haolam. Praise are you, sovereign, who is celebrated with songs of praise. 134, a song for the Shabbat day. There's more cheer, Leil HaShabbat. Oh, Lord, La Adonai, who is on there, the Shimcha Elyon, who is on there, the Shimcha Elyon. The Hagid Maloker Kasjaka, the Emunata Kabalilor, Ale Asur Valinabel, Ale Higayon Bechilor. It's more cheer, Leil HaShabbat. Oh, Lord, to the under the Shimcha Elyon, to the under the Shimcha Elyon. The Adonai Kumalaka, the Mahase Yadaharandel, Magaduma Saharonai, 154. You have loved us deeply, Adonai, our God, and showered us with boundless compassion. Avinu Elokeinu, for the sake of our ancestors who trusted in you and to whom you taught the laws of life. So may you be gracious to us and instruct us. And Creator, have compassion for us, opening our hearts so that we may understand them with love, discern, hear, and study, observe, perform, and fulfill all the teachings of your Torah with love. Yes, Asher Elohim Tzavacha Hayom Halavavecha V'shinarvam Levanecha V'divarta Bam V'stiftecha V'veitacha U'lachtecha Havaderech U'shofecha U'kumecha U'shartam La'o Ayadecha V'hayu L'chot B'neinecha U'tavtam Al Mezuzos V'eitacha U'visharesh. Middle of 158. Our homages to God on high, who was ever praised. Moshe Miriam and the people of Israel joyfully sang this song to you. Mi kamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha ne'enar v'kodesh. No one you say Bala, Torah Tehillah, say Bala. Shira Hadasha, Shivahu Gerulim, Leshipal Safat Hayam, Yachad Kulam, Hoduvim Litu, Be'averu. Adonai Yivloch, Adonai Yivloch, Le'olam V'ayim. Swor Yisrael, Kuma Bezrat Yisrael, Uvdeshenu Melcha Yehuda Yisrael. Ro'aleinu Adonai Tzavaot Shemo, Kedosh Yisrael. Baruch Atah Adonai, Ba'al Yisrael. Rise as able for tefillah, first silently beginning to 150. Adonai Eloheinu 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 Avraham Elohei Yitzhak Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel Elohei Leah Elohei Elohei Gorban Avraham Elohim Omer Chakim Rovim Elohei Hakol Yakasei Avotim Ahov Umevi Goel Nevenei Before you on Mount Sinai, carry down your mountains of stone, instructing the instruction. Thank your praises for our lives that are in your hands, our souls that are under your care, for your miracles that accompany us each day, and your wonders and gifts that are with us each morning, evening, morning, and noon. You're the one who is good, his mercy is never ending. Passion to mother, ceasing. We have always placed our hope in you. Yeah, hope. Our God and God of our ancestors, bless us with the threefold blessing of the Torah written by Moshe, your servant, recited by Aaron and his descendants, the Kohanim, the consecrated priests of your people. Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha. Yair Adonai panav elecha v'yechunecha. Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yisim lecha shalom. Shalom. Shalom tova ubracha. Shalom tova ubracha. Send Racham Yisrael, Yal Kol Yisrael Amecha, Rachidu Avinu Ladukev Before Panecha Orbanecha Sim Shalom. Shalom Tova Ubracha. Sim Shalom Tova Uberaka. Before Adonai Eloheinu, Torah Chaim V'Yahavat Chesed, Tzedakah U'Chacham U'Chacham V'Shalom, V'Shalom, Sim Shalom, Tova U'Bracha, Sim Shalom, Tova U'Bracha. Amata Yisrael, Bechol Edu, Bechol Shah, Bishlomecha, Bishlomecha, Sim Shalom, Sim Shalom, Tova Abraham, Sim Shalom, Tova Abraham. Baruch atah Adonai, Baruch atah Yisrael, Baruch. Say shalom, Bimrama. Booyah, say shalom aleinu. Ve'al kol Yisrael. V'imru. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, V'yalto Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, V'yalto Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, V'yalto Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, Ya'akol Yisrael. Yahaseh shalom, Yahaseh shalom, Shalom aleinu, Ya'akol Yisrael. Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavtu le'ar kodsho. Adonai Eloheinu, v'hishtachavtu le'ar kodsho. Kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. Show. The Torah portion for this Shabbat is Shoftim. Shoftim means judges. And it begins with God saying you should set for yourselves judges and officers. I mentioned last night that this, which in the Pshat, the surface reading, is a kind of injunction to set up a legal system, a judicial system. But many of the commentators read it in light of our task for this month of Elul. They say, set yourself up as a kind of judge for all that enters your gates. And the rabbis say, there are 7 gates, ways that we take in information with our eyes and our nose and our mouths. And for each of these gates, we have to be careful what we take in. So there's a tendency to read this allegorically as a call to Heshbon HaNefesh, as a way to look internally into ourselves. So too, a little further into the portion where I'll be reading this morning, Shoftim has the rules for warfare. This is the ancient precursor of the Geneva Convention, essentially. And we have rules around what you can do in battle. There are limitations. You can't chop down fruit trees to make siege engines during war. And we also have limitations on who actually has to go to war. Certain people are given exemptions. Again, it's important on a shot on a literal level because these rules that govern how we conduct ourselves during times of conflict are vital. But the rabbis also tend to read this in this season as a kind of metaphorical passage for which they see the enemy as the Yetzer Hara. The enemy, when we're not, most of us, thank goodness, out fighting a battle, we're not in the army, taking up arms at the moment, but we're struggling, all of us in this moment, to be our best selves and to decide who we want to be in the coming year. And so they say when you have a battle against your Yetzer Hara, against your evil inclination, you shouldn't fear. But God will be with you and will fight for you. And once we recognize that we're in this battle and we can acknowledge it, we're already a step along the way to doing better. So I'm going to be reading from Deuteronomy chapter 20. It's a portion of in this book. It's Chaim, for anybody who's following along here, and we have copies for anybody who wants to follow. In Eitz Chaim, it starts on page 1101. If you are following along at home, pretty much any biblical text in a book or online, I'll just be again beginning with Deuteronomy chapter 20. Rules for warfare, and beginning with the beginning of the chapter. When you go out to war. Baruch Hanan Barak Le'olam Ha'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Ha'amim, V'natan Lanu Et Torato, Baruch Atah Adonai Noten HaTorah. תצא למלחמה אויביך וראית סוס ורכב הרב ממך לא תירא מהם. ידנה כי אדוני אלוהיך עמך כמלכה בארץ מצרים. והיה כקורבכם אל מלחמה וניגש הכהן ודיבר אל העם. ואמר עליהם שמע ישראל, אתם קרבים היום למלחמה על אויביכם, אל ירח לבבכם, אל תיראו ואל תחבזו, ואל תרצו מפניהם, כי אדוני אלוהיך הולך עמכם להילחם לכם עם אויביכם להושיע אתכם, ודברו השוטרים אל העם לאמור. מהאיש אשר בנה בית קדש ולא חנכו, ילך וישוב לביתו, פן ימות במלחמה וישחרר יחדנו. ומהאיש אשר נטע כרם ולא חיללו, ילך וישוב לביתו, פן ימות במלחמה וישחרר יחללנו. ומהאיש אשר הרס אישה ולא לקחה, ילך וישוב לביתו, פן ימות במלחמה וישחרר ייקחנה. ויעשו השוטרים לדבר אל העם, ואמרו מהאיש הירא ויברח הלבב ילך וישוב לביתו, וימס הלבב את אחת כלבבו, והיה ככלות השוטרים לדבר אליו, ותוסר צבאות בראש העם. When you go out to war against your enemies, and you see their horses and their chariots and a great mighty force arrayed against you, you should not be afraid. For the Eternal One, your God, goes with you, leads you forth, who led you forth from the land of Egypt, and will battle for you in this battle. And the priest shall draw near and shall say to the people as follows: Listen, O Israel. You are going out to war this day against your enemies. Your heart should not fear or be afraid. You should not tremble or terror before them. For the Eternal One, your God, goes before you to fight for you against your enemies, to deliver you from them. And the officers should say to the people, who is the person who has built a new house, but who has not yet dedicated that house? Let him go and let him return to his house, lest he die in battle and another person dedicate it. And whatever person who has planted a vineyard, but is not yet harvested from that vineyard, let him go and let him return to his house, lest he die in battle and another person take that first harvest. And any person who has gotten engaged, but who has not yet completed the marriage, let him go forth and also return to his home, lest he die in battle, and another man take for himself the woman to whom he is engaged. And when the officers shall finish speaking to the people, they add, and what person, any person, whose heart softens and who is afraid and who is filled with terror, with fear, let that person also return to his home, so that his fear, his heart's trepidation will not grip his fellows, and that they would be like him. And when all the officers have finished speaking to the people, they shall command the army, the troops. They shall do this all in front of, in the presence of the entire nation. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah. Like to invite anyone who has names, if you're online, just hold them in your heart and know we'll be offering our prayers for on their behalf. But anyone in need of healing in our congregation, community, family, friends.
Galileo Barbarian, Dan Fitch,
So we got Feinberg, State. Tell me the Brisbane.
For these and for all who we're holding in our hearts this time. Mishaberach Avotenu Abraham Yitzchak Yaakov Imotenu Sarah Rechava Leah Vivarach Virapei Et Hakulim Akadosh Baruch Hu Yimalei Rachamim Aleihem Lahatzikam Refuat HaMislach Lahem Meher Refuat Shlema Min HaShamayim Refuat HaNefesh Refuat HaGuf B'tol Sha'ar HaKolim V'zeged Yidei Askim B'tzarchehem Shabbatim Muzofer Refuat Krova Lavo Hashva Ba'agalam V'zman Karev V'nomar Amen. May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Rebecca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to all those who we are holding in our prayers at this time, our friends, our family, our loved ones. May the Holy One mercifully grant them health and vigor, spiritual and physical well-being to them and to all who are in need. May God grant strength to all who tend to them. The Shabbat is a time to refrain from crying out. We yet hope and pray that healing will be speedily at hand. And let us say, Amen. For the Haftarah, we continue a series of Haftarah portions, all of which come from the second half of the book of Isaiah. They are known as the Shevet and the Chemta, the 7 portions of consolation. They take us from Tisha B'Av, time of bitter mourning, and leading up to Tisha B'Av, there are portions of harsh chastisement for our failings. But as we move from Tisha B'Av toward Rosh Hashanah, we move from that criticism to the comfort. And Isaiah offers us the promise that even in most difficult times, things will be better. This one begins with the words of comfort. I, says God, I am the one who comforts you. So you can follow along, starting on page 1108, first plus. Baruch Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher b'achar b'dim tovim v'ratzav v'divreihem ha'ne'emarim be'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah v'shavto v'Yisrael amo v'miniyei ha'emet v'tzedek. Anochi, Anochi, Lumenachem, Miat, Matiri, Menos Yamud, Nivanadam, Hatsiri Nachen, Adishkaki, Adonai, Yosecha, Loteshamai, Yosef, Aretz, Jabat Hami, Polayon, Hamat Amitzi, Asher Konan, Hashi, Hamat Amitzi, Mihar Toat, Divate, Aklo Yamud, Lashachar, Lo Yachsar, Lachmo, Manoki Adonai Lohacha, Rogayam, Yamud, Alav, and Nechot Shemo, Masim, Devarai, Beficha, Tel Yadik, Isidiha, Linto Hashamai, Vilisod Aretz, Lemor Lezion, Ami, Ata, Idori, Umi, Rushalayim, Asher Shati Miyad Adonai and Poskamato and Tubat Pos Atarela Shati Matsi Imenahel Mikovanim Yalada Bimakazi Biyada Mikovanim Gidela Shaim Hena Torat Ayif Miyanurla Ashod Hashever, Barab Hacherab, Umi, Anatame, Bani, Banai, Ufu, Shecharu, Shohu, Garosh Kohutson, Sheto Mishmahar, Amaleim, Ramat Adonai, Garat Elohai, Elohai, Lakein, Shiminazo, Aniyaha, Shurat Lo Miyain, Oamar Adonai, Adonai, Elohai, Yari, Vamo, Ine Lakati, Miyahadif, Etos Hatarela, Etuvat Kos Kamaki, Lotosifu, Bishotao, Ushmarti Habayat Mugarai, Mokai, Asher, Rulinat Sheh, Shechim and Agora, the Tasimi, Aretz, Gevet, the Kaputs, Laogrim. Awake, awake, O Zion, clothe yourself in splendor, put on robes of majesty, Jerusalem, holy city, for the uncircumcised and the pure shall never enter you again. Arise, shake off the dust, sit on your throne, Jerusalem, loose the bonds from your neck, O captive one, fair Zion. For thus says the Lord, you were sold for no price, and you shall be redeemed without money. For thus said the Lord God, of old my people went down to Egypt to sojourn there, but Assyria has robbed them, giving them nothing in return. But therefore do I gain here, declares the Lord. For my people have been carried off for nothing. Their mockers howl, declares the Lord, and constantly, unceasingly, my name is reviled. Assuredly, my people shall learn my name, that I, the one who promised, am now at hand. How welcome on the mountain are the footsteps of the herald, announcing happiness, heralding good fortune, announcing victory, telling Zion, your God is king. Hark, your watchmen raise their voices, as one they shout for joy. Every eye shall behold the Lord's return to Zion. Praise the shout together, O ruins of Jerusalem. For the Lord will comfort God's people and will redeem Jerusalem. Asaf Adonai Yisroel Sholei Neko Hagoyim. Rahu Palase Aretz and Yeshua Eloheinu. Suru Tsumisham Ame al tigau tu mitocha kibaru nos ekle Adonai ilo v'chibazot tetzayu umenu salot telechun yolech lifnechem Adonai Matzvechem Elohei Yisrael, for you will not depart in haste, nor will you leave in flight. For the Lord is marching before you, the God of Israel is your rear guard. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, tzur kol olamim, tzadik v'kol hadorot, ha'el ha'ne'eman ha'omer v'yosem, and the Berim Hayim. Odavara, Emet Vatzedek, Naman, Hatagu Adonai Eloheinu, Benamanim Devarecha, Vidavarachad Vivarecha, for Lo Yashuvrecha, Yom Melech Naman V'Rachaman Ata, Baruch Ata Adonai, Ha'el HaNe'eman, V'chol Devaracha. Ahem, Al Zion Ki B'Chayinu, Al Vad Nefesh Toshia B'Meirav Yameinu, Baruch Ata Adonai, Nazion B'Vanecha, Sampeinu Adonai Eloheinu B'Leon V'Yavdecha, Malchut V'David B'Shichecha, B'Meiraya Bo B'Yagel V'Beinu, Al Kisela Yeshev Zayvos Kulu Al Harim Devodo, Yivashan Kachakanish Batalo Shalo Yivani Roleolam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, Magen David. Al-Torah, Al-Buddha, Al-Navim, Ba'yom HaShabbat Hazeh, Shenatata Lanu Adonai Eloheinu, L'Kedusha V'Lemenotah, L'Chavod U'Letifaret, Al-Kol Adonai Eloheinu Anachnu Modim Lach, U'Mevarchim Otah, Yitvarach Shivcha B'Fi Kol Chai V'Mid Le'olam Va'ed, Baruch Atah Adonai, B'Kadesh HaShem. 178, the prayer for peace. Yiratzum Milchanach Adonai Eloheinu V'Elo Yavatenu Yivotenu Shivatel Milchamat Shvichut Amin Min Ha'olam. May we see the day when war and bloodshed cease, when a great peace will embrace the whole world. Then nation will not threaten nation, and the human family will not again know war. For all who live on earth shall realize we have not come into being to hate or to destroy. We have come into being to praise, to labor, and to love. Compassionate God, bless the leaders of all nations with power. Fulfill the promise conveyed in Scripture. I will bring peace to the land, and you shall lie down, and no one shall terrify you. I will rid the land of vicious beasts, and it shall not be ravaged by war. Let justice and righteousness flow like a mighty stream. Let God's peace fill the earth as the waters fill the sea. And let us say, Amen. Hallelujah, Shem Adonai Ki Nitzkav Shelo Levado, Odo Al Eretz V'Shamayim, Vayarem Keren Le'ambo, V'Hila L'Kol Chasidav, L'Snei Yisrael Am Terovo. Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Ayim Hi L'Machatikiva, V'Tol V'Chel Tirusha, V'Akeha V'She'olam, V'Kol Tivoteha Shalom. So, a word of Torah in a different section from that which I read this morning. Deuteronomy 16 offers a strong, almost harshly worded command about what is considered at the time idolatrous practice. Torah is very fervent in Deuteronomy in teaching the Israelites who will go into the land that they are to uproot all the altars, destroy all the sacrifices that other nations who had been living there have offered to their gods. There's an interesting tractate, a whole tractate of Talmud called Avodah Zarah that deals with idolatry, and it's interesting to see what the rabbis do. They very strongly mitigate the harshness of Torah, and one can understand why, because the rabbis are living in the Roman Empire, right? So they can't just go uprooting all the altars and destroying all the statues of the gods. That would be the end of the Jewish people very, very quickly. So it's an interesting journey that the rabbis make from these very, very strong passages in Torah to learning to live among idolaters. But that's a story for another day. The passage I want to look at this morning begins, Lo titalacha asherah kol eitz etzel mizbach Adonai. So it's dealing with what's known as an asherah. And an asherah is a kind of pole or a sacred tree, apparently. And Torah says you shall not set up any kind of pole or tree beside the altar of God. And you can't erect a stone pillar for soneh Adonai Elohecha, for God detests such things. So, Mea Shiloach, a 20th century, early 20th century Hasidic commentator, raises an important question. Because he notes, when he looks back earlier in Genesis, Abraham sets up altars by trees all the time. Elon Mored, altar at the tabernacle of the terebinths of Mamre and the oak trees of Mored. In fact, places where there are trees seem to be Abraham's favorite place to set up altars to God. So Mea Shiloach asks, why do we have this prohibition now in Deuteronomy on having trees by the altar when Abraham planted trees at the sites where he frequently worshiped God? And he offers an answer that I think is timely for us now. Mea Shiloach says, the difference between Genesis and planting trees at the altar and Deuteronomy, where we're told not to do so, comes to teach that forms of worship that may have been appropriate at one time may not be appropriate at another time. So Abraham was praying in the desert, and it gets very hot. And the assumption is, trees are beautiful and they create shade, and it was a perfectly appropriate place for him to set up an altar. Now, fast forward 1,000 years or so, when we're preparing to enter into the land, trees around the altar are so strongly associated with the idolaters who have been in the land that we're taught to refrain from this practice. That which was okay at one time is not okay at another time. The other way too. Sometimes that which is not okay at one time becomes okay at another time. And I think about this passage and this shift from Genesis to Deuteronomy and Mea Shiloach's extraordinary teaching from it. That we have to look at the context, and that which is appropriate sometimes is not appropriate in others. And the forms of worship change. This is an important thing for us. Of course, the biggest example of this is when the temple is destroyed. We go from sacrifices to prayer, right? The rabbis decide that prayer is avodah, the sacrifice shabbat, the sacrifice of the heart. And we are still here as Jews because we were able to make that transition on a dime. When the temple was destroyed, we could very well have said, okay, everything we know about how we worship with Kohanim, with priests, sacrificing animals on this altar, we can't do any of it anymore. So let's take down the tent and go out of business. And we had a good run while it lasted. But that's not what we do, of course. We are here because the rabbis found a way to take that which was appropriate when the temple stood and reinterpret it creatively for a new time and a new situation. Here, as I'm talking to some live and to some who are watching over the camera, that truth seems pressing and immediate. Again, we are in a time when forms of worship that worked once may not exactly work in this moment, and things that weren't right before are necessary and important to keep us going as a community now. So we hear Deuteronomy, and we hear it through the lens of what came before. We know that to be a community is to live, to grow, and to always find, in the words of Me'ashiloach, to worship paths that speak to and serve our generation here and now. May we continue to do so, whatever the future brings. In your rest. It's 203 in the Siddur. Itkedavi Kedash Shemei Rabba. The Almighty record of Yom Nechma Fute, but I only be Mechon, I the whole baby Israel. Like a love is one Caribbean brew. Amen. Yeshme Rabba Mevora. Leolam Lo Me'al Ma'al Yitvan. Shabbat, Baruch Ramon Nasevi, the Dargit of the Lost made a good shot. Maria, they love people. You're a hat of insurance. With the hat of the Nachmatan and your room. Amen. You can also on the boat of Israel, and I'm on the Ishmael and brew. Amen. If you want to round into my Vakai, I'm going to go for Israel and brew. Amen. O Seshon Bimruma, Yase Shalom, Alenavil for Yisrael, for Yisrael, Biamaru. Amen. 204. Ein Eloheinu, Ein Adonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Moshienu, Mi Eloheinu, Mi Adonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Moshienu. No Eloheinu, no Eloheinu, no Eloheinu, no Moshienu. Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adonenu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu. Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adonenu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu. Atahu Shikiru, Avoteinu, Lefanecha, Et Ketoret Hasan. Page 205. Remember now those of our congregation, our community, family, friends, those who have died in this season in years past, those who have died in recent times, those who we hold in our hearts dearly together with our own. So again, if you are watching online, I invite you to take a moment and hold close in your heart the names and the memories of all those who you are remembering. And those who are here, if you have names of folks who are recalling for Kaddish, please feel free to speak.
Yeah, T. Shapiro, J. Webb.
For these, and for all who we hold in our hearts, I invite the mourners, all whose custom it is, to rise and join in Kaddish, page 207. Yitgadal Yitgadash Shemei Rabbah. Yalmad Yivrak Kurtei, Yimdithmak Kurtei, B'chayeton, B'yomechon, B'chayei the whole Beit Israel, Ba'agalam, B'zman Karid, B'yivru, Amen. Yehei Shemei Rabbah, B'barach, Le'olam Lo'omei Omaya. Yitbarach, Yishtabach, Yitbar, Yitramah, Yitnaseh. Yitadar, Yitaleh, Yitalal, Shemei Kushah, B'richu. Le'lami, Kol Birkata, B'shirata, Pushmata, B'nechemata. Dan B'ran, B'yamah, B'yivru, Amen. Yehei Shalom, B'Rabbah, Ben Shemaya. B'chaim, Aleinu, B'yoko Yisrael, B'yivru, Amen. Oseh Shalom, B'Romav, Yaseh Shalom. Aleinu, B'yoko Yisrael, B'yivru, Amen. And one who makes peace on high, let peace descend on us, on all Israel, on all the world. May comfort be with all who mourn. Let us all say, Amen. So, by way of announcements, I want to thank our team who set us up, and Lawrence. Thanks to Lawrence Shapiro for again, those of you who are watching online can see because Lawrence is here because he's been manning the store. So thank you. We're going to continue Friday night. Hopefully next Friday night it won't be 100 degrees and terrible air quality, and we'll be back in person. That is the plan. So 6 o'clock Friday nights and 10 o'clock on Shabbat mornings to be here. For the concluding song, I'm going to ask you to bear with me. One of my very, very favorite singer-songwriters who I have long admired since the early 80s. Died yesterday, Nancy Griffith. And so in her honor, I'm going to try and do it along to one of her tunes, but I didn't really have time to practice it very much. So to do the best I can. No, no, no. Share my love, and home. We as I go home, as I fell and Shimon. I fell and Shimon. Keep on the cold, live it up and go around. I am the blue best, we get the people around. I believe so, please, but it's when they see the final sleep, I can see the old neck out. I don't know, the hair and cold, see it again. As I go home, I find out that Shimoni crown. Maybe I go lead swiftly, lady, I go lead swiftly, sorrow. When you see you, honestly, I can see you on that crowd. I can see you on the crowd, I can see you on that crowd. I share my love, that terrible, it's you around. As I go home, as I feel it's not to that Shimoni crown. I keep your keeping somebody round. Keep and I keep the lowly round. Keep your keeping somebody round. I don't know. I share my love with every it's here to ground. Even the south, as I go home, my belly slowly cries. My belly, slowly, up to the grave. What's my destiny? What if I some dark clouds to hide in the tears? Love in a memory, sparkles like diamonds. When diamonds fall, when the diamonds fall, like me is when the diamonds fall. Bigger like this, when the diamonds fall. Me is when the diamonds fall. Bigger like this. Stay cool, stay inside. There's that. A mask to double duty.
Oh. Oh, you're like that. It's amazing.
Oh, no, how you doing?
How you doing? Coming along.
Yeah, good.
Good to Toby. Oh, yeah, how well are you? Dr.
You know.